There you are. Good morning. I'm glad you could come along. If you're doing manual machine work, you need that competitive edge. Because if you're using manual machines, you got to be in it to win it. And I'm going to help you along on some aspects that I think will be helpful. And let's get going on one here. Have a drink of coffee, and we'll get going. Got the little dog here. Alrighty. Now, what I'm setting up here is my tool post grinder. You see that? I've used every brand of tool post grinder, and I flat out reject them. I don't like them. I don't care who made it. It's not good enough because I want that competitive edge. Okay, let's talk about this thing a little bit. Now, this is an internal grinding spindle, and I use it to grind the chuck jaws. It's extremely important, and especially on 3-jaw chucks. I'm a hydraulics technician, along with being a factory-trained and certified Harley-Davidson technician. Put that pipe in your smoker. Yeah. Well, okay. I even do grind 4-jaw chucks, but this Cushman here does not need the jaws ground, okay? Now, I'll swing this thing around, and I use small stones for the most part, like points, like the small points. And but for larger chucks, this will work on the Monarch 10EEs. But I take this part off, and believe it or not, right in front of this pulley here is the threads for Sioux valve grinding wheels, valve seat grinding wheels, and that's what threads on here. And they're the perfect size for grinding larger chucks like 12-inch and 12-inch and larger chucks. So this grinder here, I got a single-phase motor on it, and to make this thing run precision, I took the motor apart and left the end bell on here and finished this pulley right on the armature, and then put the motor back together. I threaded the standard shaft for a nut to retain this pulley here. I leave this pulley on here permanently, and it runs absolutely perfectly true. I use flat belts, and I make these flat belts myself out of automotive belts. I use this grinder, I gear it down, I turn the belts inside out and use coarse sandpaper and sand them down to those flat belts. It's not that big a deal. Try to buy the belt you need. You got to order it or whatever. And these are perfect, seamless, and work perfectly. Of course, all the pulleys need to be crowned somewhat. Now this internal arbor here, it's extra long, and I can drive it from this end too. Flip the motor around, and I also have a 3-phase motor I can put on here too. That's set up the same way. Okay. This is a far superior tool than the commercial ones. Now, I made these spindles. Now this one here is an external grinding spindle, and I built this on the Monarch 10EE, and the bearings in it are Barden grade 9. I mean, this is a nice spindle. It runs absolutely just beautiful. And what I have on the end here is a dish wheel. And I want to caution people, if you're going to do what I do, you got to be really, really careful. Now, what I can do with that wheel here is grind all these faces. I can grind this, I can grind this, and all of the faces here where I use the standard point to grind the jaws. So I have complete control over my chucks. And how does that give me the competitive edge? Well, when I clamp something in a chuck, it's true. There's no wobble, and it's absolutely true. And particularly the scroll chucks is the money maker for me. You know, if I stick like a older hydraulic piston in it, and it needs more modern seals, well, I can stick it in a 3-jaw chuck and cut those grooves. You know, I don't have to dial the part in. It'll run within 1 or 2 thousandths. And a little bit later, I'm going to show you how to rebuild scroll chucks. And I learned that from a Navy machinist. And I'm going to show you some tricks. And I think you'll like it. You'll be able to buy old chucks like I do and fix them up. Okay? So I thought you might like to see this tool post grinder. I did make the parts on the 10EE. It's very simple construction. It's made out of 2-inch thick steel. The motor slides on this very simple setup here and clamped. You see that? See how easy that is? Now, what I got to do on this Axelson here is get it to the center height. I have to figure out a little shim to raise it up. I can set this up on the 10EE by removing the top slide, and I made a deal, and I grind my chuck jaws in that manufacturing lathe, and my chucks are perfect, absolutely perfect. And I want your chucks to be too. And I just want to show you that it's not that big a deal to make something like this. And you don't have to have the 10EE, and you don't have to use Barden bearings. You know, and I'll tell you about those Barden bearings. Those things are really expensive. But what I do, I sometimes pick them up at auctions and stuff, just dirt cheap. And then I design something I can use them in. And that's the beauty of making your own things. You know, it is. So anyway, I'll show you what I was up to with this. I thought you might like to look at this tool post grinder. And I can do a lot of different things with this. I can even bolt it onto my tool and cutter grinder and do some interesting things. So, you know, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk later.